You are listening to the Hodges Huddle, where we discuss all things in the wide world of sports. Here is your KLSU sports team.
Welcome into the Hodges Huddle. I'm your host, Andre Champagne, and today I'm joined by Michael Poggi and Jaden Smith. Gentlemen, how are we doing after last night? I know it was a little tough to watch.
Yeah, it's not a calm little Tuesday, everybody. It's just Tuesday.
Breaking
Tuesday.
news.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Not a calm little Tuesday.
Yeah,
Dang.
I apologize, everybody, but
We're
try
starting
again
off
next
on
week.
the wrong foot, man.
Yeah. Wow. We're just to get through it. I mean, we actually don't have that many notes on LSU Iowa because we're going more into depth with the Iowa UConn matchup.
Yeah.
But, dude, Caitlin Clark
Stud.
might be the best college basketball player of all time. Well,
Stud.
Basketball player of all time. You don't even think she's the best women's basketball player of all time?
No, I don't. And I actually feel pretty strongly about that.
One.
I just don't think it's her.
Parker?
I think you could put Candace Parker up there. You could put Breonna Stewart up there. Cheryl Cooper, Lisa Leslie, Kelsey Plum. Like, there's a lot of players. I don't think it's just wrong to say that. But
I mean,
I just have a problem.
I think it's definitely debatable for sure. But I mean,
sure, but I just have
with the way that she's been playing, man. I feel like it's hard to argue against.
I mean, yeah, I just don't think people should just anoint her. Because there are some people that it's just not a conversation to be had. But that's all.
I just don't understand how she scores 20 points against West Virginia and things like that. Yeah. But anyway, we're wrapping up with college basketball for the season. As next podcast, it's going to be pretty much
that'll be it.
Baseball and golf after that.
Sweet.
Yeah. But pretty much men and women's Final Fours will take place this upcoming weekend. We're going to focus on just those matchups with our predictions. So we're going to start with the men's side. Men's Final Four, this weekend, UConn defeated Illinois after going on a 30-2 run to start the second half, and they sure look like the defending national champions. Mm-hmm. On the same side of the bracket, Alabama defeated Clemson in a really entertaining game, just offensive heavy from Mark Sears and Bama, three-point shooting once again. That's just their style, man. Yeah. So let's talk about this matchup first. It will be the second game on Saturday, but like I said, I think this is going to be the best game of the weekend. Mm-hmm. First off, what is Bama going to have to do on the defensive end to stop such a skilled offense with so much movement from UConn?
I think a very important thing, and I know this sounds very textbook, but I think they're going to have to do a good job at fighting through screens and really getting through screens. UConn is just a really fundamentally sound technical team. They're like a well-oiled machine, man. Yeah. And it's just clear as day. And the reason they're so good is because they do all of the small things very well. That's really just the difference maker on top of that with the talent that they already have. So I think they have to do a good job at getting through those screens and disrupting a lot of their timing, because that's really what opens up a lot of their offense. And then they get fast break opportunities, and then after you know it, teams have started tapping out.
Yeah, I mean, look at that Illinois game.
Exactly.
For example. So
I just think that's going to play a big factor in how Alabama fares in this matchup.
My thing is the glass. I think Alabama is really going to have to control the glass, especially on the defensive end. Mm-hmm. They can't be allowing UConn to getting offensive rebounds and second chance, third chance opportunities when you never know that the first one is probably going to go in. Yeah. So I think on the glass is really where they need to be. They need to be unified as a defensive unit. Like you said, they love to do off-ball screens, back cuts, all that stuff. So they need to be talking. And like you said, it's fundamentals, and it sounds a little cliche, but
it's true.
It's true. You have to really do the simple things right against a team like UConn. And honestly, Grant Nelson. Grant Nelson, if you want to make a name for yourself, big fella, this is the game to do it. And I think you have a really great opportunity to do so.
Will you crumble or will you fold? I mean, will you fold? Will you perform under pressure, Grant Nelson? But I think Alabama's going to, like Jaden said, they're going to have to switch carefully.
Yeah.
With all the screens that Hurley loves to use around the floor, players can easily get lost in their assignments, and you kind of saw that against Clemson, where PJ Hall just got what he wanted in that game.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be key to winning this game. If they can get on top of the screens, and pretty much if you want to just watch Iowa LSU film, get over the screens. Don't go under.
Yeah.
Never go under a screen. When you have a guy like not Mark Sears, but Tristan Newton, a guy that can get hot from behind the arc. So it's just about being physical and disrupting that offensive game plan for UConn if you are Alabama. Because we've seen shades of UConn being slow on offense. I mean, it's definitely happened this year. Obviously not many times, but they have shown that they can be slow on offense. And I think Alabama's physical enough to go and kind of do that to them. But should Alabama be worried about having to contain UConn center Donovan Clingan, who is the tallest center they've seen so far in the tournament?
Man, I just think they need to get big, and they just need to rebound and hope they miss some shots. But with Clingan, I really don't think you need to necessarily be worried, but definitely have him circled.
Right.
It's not necessarily, shiver, shiver. Yeah, it's not really all this whole scare thing. But you got to have your eye on him, and that's why I'm saying like rebound. He's in my opinion, he's their best player. He's their best player, and he's very big, and he's really just Grant Nelson. You're just going to need to step up, and you're just going to have to stay on him, get bigger than him, be big, even if you're not. You know what I mean?
Grant Nelson
Exactly.
Very scary, like not even like sneaky. He's got good version. What do you think, Jaden?
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, not in the literal sense of like being scared, but you know what you're up against.
Yeah.
And I mean, Grant Nelson has pretty good size himself too. I mean, Donovan's 7'2". Grant Nelson is 6'11". I mean, maybe 7 feet on a good day. Right. But I will say I saw Will Baker give Grant Nelson problems, and I saw him make Grant look like a cone. I think Will Baker had like 22 at half when they played him here in the PMAC, and that's just Will Baker. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen again.
I mean, you're not lying, brother.
But
man, why are we hating on Will Baker?
I think that's something that, like I said, like they know what they're up against.
The flaws are pointed out.
The flaws are there. So, and a guy like this, you really just have to get into his chest and I guess try to frustrate him and disrupt him as much as you can, because when you're up against guys that are just physically imposing against you, like that's really all you can really hope to do.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest question of the night for Alabama. This is something like you really haven't had much experience with in terms of facing like height like that. Like P.J. Hall was a 6'10" guy, and he was still kind of dominating Grant Nelson. Now, Grant Nelson's defensive capabilities are all there. The guy can get blocks, but he's going to have to play like he's bigger. Like he needs to play with a sort of dominance in this one to where he can defend, because Clingan's a guy who can really just change the game. On that run that they had, I'm pretty sure he wasn't even taking most of the shots. He was creating the offense from the post, and that's something that Alabama really does struggle with.
And he's going to try and get Nelson in foul trouble really quickly. And so that's when you have guys like Nick Pringle and Sam Walters come in the game, and you're really going to need those two guys to step up and get big.
Pringle, for sure, because he is listed at 6'10", and like I said, he's been really good defensively.
Yes.
So that kind of leads me to this question. How do they counter that height? Should they double team him in the post with the guards, maybe? Something similar to what Tennessee did with Edey?
I don't necessarily think double teaming is the right way to go right away.
Maybe on the baseline.
Yeah, like maybe sneaky like back cuts, double team, like when he's got the ball and he doesn't see you and you come up behind, maybe hit the ball out of his hand, maybe something like that. But you have to understand, UConn has guys that can light you up. Yeah. And if you double team and you leave somebody open, he's a good enough player where he's going to get the ball out of his hands and he's going to find somebody open to hit a big-time shot. So I think that, push him around, get big, like I said, maybe have somebody go backdoor, poke the ball out. But if that's not working, then you can try and go to a double team. But I think stick with what you know for right now and let the game come to you.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of doubling players in the post, especially against teams that can shoot the ball very well.
Exactly.
Because it's a death wish. I mean, it's almost like a trap. Like I'm pretty sure most teams would more than like to welcome you to double their best player, so they can get open looks from beyond the arc. I just think it's a trap, and I don't think you go to that strategy right away. I think if anything, you you double his blind spot, if
Right.
anything. But I don't think it's very smart to go in, just blindly and, we're just going to double team Donovan Clingan and just forget about everybody
No,
else.
yeah, and I don't think they should double like all game. I don't think that should be anywhere in the game plan. But like kind of what Michael said, like they need to get guards that are going down there consistently and maybe just poking at the ball maybe
Make him uncomfortable.
Yeah, because Klingan's a guy where he actually has trouble catching the ball a lot. So I think if you really want him to turn it over, it's a possibility that you get the guards down there and make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which Illinois did not even try to do for some reason. Like they just let them go one-on-one most of the time, and when they didn't, it was too dang late for them. So I think you have to put your trust in Nelson and Pringle, both of those guys. And whenever there's bust, Alabama's going to have to play the fastest defense that they have the entire season. Like they're a physical team, don't get me wrong, but the help defense has got to be there at all times, and just switching and stuff like we talked about has to be there. But for UConn, how do you think the Huskies should go about guarding Mark Sears, who pretty much seems to be a guy like D'Angelo Russell, Jalen Brunson type of player, without like the height, of course, but it just loves any space that you give him. He's going to shoot the ball.
I think that they just have to keep moving. They got to keep moving. They got to, move their feet, get through the screens. Like you said, don't go under them. You fight through the screens. But honestly, just like get in, like face guard him. Get in his face, make him uncomfortable, talk trash,
Foul him. Honestly,
exactly.
Don't foul him, but
Be
I hate
physical.
saying that, but if you're not being aggressive if you're not fouling. That's
I get what you're
something
saying.
like I was always taught
Yeah.
when I played basketball. It's like if you're not fouling, you're not really playing defense to an extent, or aggressive defense.
Yeah.
At that, so
Make his life hard. Make it harder than it needs to be. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
just like, because if you don't, he is going to find space, and he is a good enough player where if he gets his feet set and he goes up in the air, he's going to hit a shot.
and he once he makes two,
It's
in a row,
like
good luck guarding him because he's going to find a way just through a little bit of space.
that's why I love this matchup so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Michael, because I was going to say I think they should trap off of the screen a couple of times, sacrifice one or two, and then just give them some different looks because small, witty guards like that, there's nothing they hate more than having their timing disrupted.
Right.
There's nothing a guard would hate more than
Yep.
seeing a screen open up and thinking, I'm about to be open at the top of the key, and no, here comes a double team.
Stop the
and
dribble. Yep.
Stop the dribble and get the ball out of his hands. Make somebody else do something. I think as long as you give him different looks, obviously play physical, I think they should be all right. And I do think UConn has the means to do this.
yeah.
And one thing about UConn, they have the length.
Yeah.
Their guards are huge, like absolutely just stellar on defense. That's the one thing that UConn doesn't get enough praise for is their defense. And it's their defense against the three. And that's what worries me for Alabama is can you go to the 2-point shooting if the 3-point shooting doesn't work for you? Because it's kind of like they live and die by it. They have been live and die by the three. But when you got a guy like Tristan Newton out there, going over screens, I just don't see Alabama, having much success with that all night. But coaching-wise, very interesting matchup. You got Nate Oates, who's a very big offensive mind, and then you also have a really other offensive mind in Dan Hurley.
Yeah.
So it's just really going to be really cool to see like what adjustments that they make during game, more so than before game. But what interests you kind of between those two coaching styles as they go up against each other?
I'm interested to see how UConn guards the three-point line just because that's Alabama's bread and butter. And I think you were on record saying, like, Nate Oates tells these guys, like, or he's mad, like, if they're not shooting the ball, like, shoot the ball. And like you just said, I'm always interested to see how teams respond when their shot isn't falling. If your shot isn't falling, what else can you do to grind out a win, especially against a team as good as UConn is? UConn, they kind of remind me of, like, a 2016, 2017, those Villanova teams that we saw come
just
Yeah.
like consistently good,
just consistently
talented,
good, well coached,
so talented,
disciplined, like everything you would want in a basketball team.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what I'm interested to see in this matchup.
Okay.
I'm really just interested to see, like you said, I mean, the 3-point defensively from UConn, and then the defensive approach from Alabama and how they do it down low. I'm excited to see
the counter.
Yeah, like what each team is doing to the other team's strength. I'm excited to see how they fight with that because that's what these coaches do. They look at the other team's strength and then they attack it. And they attack it.
Agree.
And I like that you said that about Nate Oates because he engraves this like thought into their heads that you are hitting the shot. Shoot the ball.
Yeah,
and like
if that one doesn't go in,
shoot it again.
Another, the next one.
I had a coach tell me like, it was like sort of along the lines of that. He would always say, never stop shooting the ball because you'll never make the next one.
Yeah.
So
if you keep like that's what I hate. I get it when teams are, shooting themselves into a hole.
Yeah,
and like when you're 3 for 28 from the 3-point line, maybe try something else.
Yeah.
But say you hit a couple.
But that's their bread and butter. That's the thing. That's the difference.
So you hit a couple, you miss like 10. Keep shooting. Yeah. They will go in. Yeah. If that's what you do all season, they will go in eventually. Yeah. I think it's going to be a great matchup that goes down to the wire, and I think it's going to come down to the last 2 stops of the game, and whoever gets those last 2 stops is going to win the ball game.
I agree. But finally, before we get into like who wins this game, finally, who's a player on both Alabama and UConn that has to provide a spark for their respective teams to help them advance to the Natty? First, we can start with UConn.
I think it'll be Klingon. And I think the matchup between he and Grant Nelson is going to tell me all I need to know about this game. I'm expecting UConn to win, but I think that's just going to be very indicative to how the rest of this game goes because I'm predicting that Mark Sears is already going to be disrupted enough as it is, so much so that he won't be as much as a factor as he has been this entire tournament.
And he'll still get his. Like that's the thing about Mark Sears. Mark Sears scores 20-something points.
Yeah.
Right.
He's going to find a way to score. But I like that pick.
Yeah.
Obviously, Klingon needs to be good. But if Tristan Newton is on while the rest of his guys are playing well. Yeah. So if Klingon is playing well and then Tristan Newton starts hitting threes, starts going crazy, it's over with. Yeah. Like, it's absolutely over with.
I have the same pick.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I think that the Alabama defenders are going to be so focused on the post, like you said, and the height differential that they're going to forget how good Newton is at getting the paint, but also just his entire offensive approach. Like, he can get to the paint. He's so lengthy that, like, he's so good at attacking with contact finishes. But I think he has a good game.
Yeah.
What about Alabama? Alabama?
What about him?
Like, what player?
What do they have to do?
No, what player, do you have? Did you pick Mark Sears or no?
Yeah, I picked Mark Sears.
Well, I got kind of like the same thing. Obviously, Mark Sears got to be good, but Grant Nelson. Like, because...
You're going Grant Nelson?
Yeah, I'm going Grant Nelson because Grant Nelson, I mean... It's gonna come down to those big guys. It's gonna be down in the post. If Grant Nelson is playing good defense and getting in Klingon's head and getting rebounds and bodying the glass, man, they got a chance.
If Nelson somehow and Bama pull this off, they're gonna have to put like a visual of like the dirty jobs, and it's gonna have to be like an edit of Grant Nelson. But I know Mark Sears is the easy answer here, but I'm actually going in a different direction. I'm gonna say Rylan Griffin. I think he has to have a big game. Had some big shots in that Clemson game, and Alabama is going to have to hope that that he can stop Tristan Newton. He's a 6'6" guard, huge guy. I'm going Rylan Griffin. But who wins this one?
I'm going to go with UConn. I just think UConn has too many layers to him. And even in the way that we're evaluating this game, like the thing with Alabama that keeps coming up is the shooting. Yeah. And that's really all we've gone over. But with the UConn, I just think there's so much more to their offense, and there's so many more ways that they can win this game than I can envision Alabama doing that. Yeah. So based off of that, I'm going to have to go with UConn. I just think they've been the better team all season. They haven't had a close game in a tournament in I don't know how long.
I mean, it's been a while.
It's been a while, so pretty comfortably UConn.
I think if anybody in this tournament has an opportunity to do it, it's Alabama. They match up well, and this Bama team is red hot at the moment. And what do we know about March? If a team's red hot, it's kind of hard to stop them. And I really want to say Bama comes out of this game alive. I really do. I could also see UConn winning by 20. But if the game is close, give me Alabama.
Okay. I like both of those. I really could see Alabama winning it. You know what's the craziest part about all this? UConn is an 11.5-point favorite right now.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous in my opinion.
For a Final Four matchup.
Literally, I'm saying pick Alabama to cover the spread
they're covering.
and like hammer it. And still with that, I'm going UConn in this one. I think they're clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah.
And it's going to take the best game of the season from the Tide to stop the depth. One thing about UConn, they're so deep. They can score from so many
They have
positions.
5 players averaging double digits.
There you go. But I'm going UConn, man. But moving on, let's go to the other matchup. We have, which will feature Purdue, and star Zach Edey, who has looked unstoppable in this tournament. And then America's team. You have NC State led by DJ Burns and DJ Horn. Purdue defeated Tennessee behind Edey's incredible performance as he put up 40 points and 16 boards. Incredible. Even if you hate him, you have to kind of admit that he's been really solid this tournament.
Way to redeem
He does
himself.
get the whistle. Let's be real. He gets the big man whistle.
Yeah.
I wish I was 7'8".
Yeah, we all do, man. But NC State pulled off yet another upset. I really didn't think it was going to happen against Duke. But like I said, we're rival in Duke. So if you're NC State, how do you try to even contain Zach Edey? It's kind of like the Caitlin Clark situation because they are so not tall. NC State. Their tallest guy is 6'10".
Yeah.
How do you even try to contain Zach Edey? And do you think there's any way that DJ Burns can hold his own against him?
Man, I don't know. I haven't seen one coach with the answer in 30-plus games this season on how to stop Zach Edey. I would suggest, and I'm sure that they've done this, looking at some film of Florida Atlantic from last year because I think their tallest player was like 6'5", and Zach Edey was pretty much a non-factor. But I also think Zach Edey is in a whole different mental space this tournament, and you can tell he came with it on his mind. Like, I have a mission to accomplish. So I think the obvious answer is rough him up, be physical. But even with that, I mean, his whistle is insane, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to get to the line.
And
And
he's a
it's
good
not like
free
he's a
throw
Shaq to where
shooter.
the point you can send him to the line because
Yeah.
you don't have any other options. So you're just going to hope to have to hold your own. And I think, honestly, you're going to have to worry about guarding everybody else. I think you're going to have to let Zach Edey get his and just make sure that you win your matchups all across the board against everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. But, you know, the way to compete with a size like that is size of your own. And even if you don't have somebody who matches you on the height,
Yeah.
you have a big old dude in your hand with DJ Burns, 6'9", 275. I know you smiling. I don't even want to hear about your dirty mind. 6'9", 275. And he's a big old dude.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
he's
7'4" to 6'10" is like, dude.
well, right, but the whistle's going to be there, but DJ Burns is going to get his,
physical.
he is going to let you know where you are, and he's going to make sure you know that it's his paint too.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think if you are NC State, you got to look how Tennessee tried to guard him because you also didn't have that much height to counter him, which really screwed them. So at least you have film to watch off of it.
Yeah.
But I think DJ Burns, like we said, use that strength, man. He's got strength. Now he doesn't have the height necessarily, but he's got the look. He's got the frame.
He's pretty big,
He's got the
too.
frame. Like I said,
He's a
dude,
big
that
boy.
drop step is actually insane.
He's a big boy.
And I was really surprised to see how he had Kyle Filipowski in hell. Like he literally had him in hell.
Yeah.
All game. So I do expect doubles down low against Edey. Now we just talked about Klingon.
Yeah.
We're not going to see much because the height difference is not
Right.
bad. But when you look at how bad it is here, I think you're okay with letting someone else beat you rather than Edey here.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm thinking. But with Edey getting all of the attention, like who do you think Purdue has to rely on if he starts off cold?
I mean, Braden Smith.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, he's going to have to use his 43% three-point shooting. And I mean that's the obvious answer in my eyes.
Yeah.
I just think
I'm gonna agree with you, too.
Yeah, like Braden Smith, he's a great shooter, great volume shooter, and if they start doubling and leaving him open, he was missing a few shots in that Tennessee game, but if he's on, and he's not going to miss very many.
And if, it just feels like he's due. Honestly, he hasn't had like a huge game this tournament, so I'm kind of waiting on it because in the regular season, Braden Smith was not like the guy, but he was the second guy, you know.
Yeah.
And not only his 3-point shooting, he's good at getting stops. He's good at a lot of things. I think he had 7 rebounds, 7 assists against Tennessee. So he's just all around. He can create offense. So and that causes problems. What do you think?
Yeah, along with Braden Smith, I'm going to say Fletcher Lawyer, another guy who's shooting 40% from beyond the arc on the season. Purdue is just such a good team, man. Even just when you think you have Zach Edey bottled up, he can dish it out. And he's 7'4", so it's very hard to even disrupt his passes because let's say you do send the double, he can still see over the double team. So it may not even affect him that much. So I think if Zach Edey can't get it going, which I don't think will be an issue, I think they're going to have to just rely on their shooting more than anything else.
Yeah. And then who do you think North Carolina State is going to have to rely on if the offense does go cold through and they can't run it through DJ Burns most of the game? I can go first if you want.
Yeah, go first.
I think they're going to have to rely on DJ Horn. When DJ Burns got his second and third foul and got benched in the Duke game, DJ Horn completely took over the game. And that's when DJ Burns was on the bench. So just, I think they have to find a balance of keeping those guys on the court together because with Purdue being a pretty good defensive team, I think that's really important to keep everybody out of foul trouble and just keep the guys that give you points. And even when Burns is going to need kind of time to rest on the bench because obviously your guy is going to get fatigued.
Yeah.
Especially Gordon Edey. I think that's a guy that you really have to go to.
Yeah, I think it'll be DJ Horn too, and it's kind of funny we saying it as if he's like second fiddle because he's actually their leading scorer.
But as of lately, they just have played the different style.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And maybe I think clearly that's what's best for him. I mean, they've won 9 straight, I think it is.
Yep.
So I think obviously the answer has to be DJ Horn, and obviously you probably feel better about that scoring coming from a guard matchup rather than DJ Burns trying to back down 7'4" Zach Edey every single possession.
You're right.
So obviously DJ Horn, but if you look, I look out for Michael O'Connell, the white boy around the perimeter.
I do.
Because
remember him.
He's a transfer. He's going to hit some shots for him. But like you said, I mean, DJ Horn, he's their best player at the end of the day. I mean, he's their best player. He's a great point guard, great passer, honestly good guard defender too.
Yeah.
So I really think they have a good chance to win this ball game.
Yeah, so give me a Purdue and an NC State player now. We're going to start with Purdue first, but kind of like we did just now, that has to have a huge game for them to have, a big impact for their teams to advance.
I mean, I'm just going to go obvious. I'm going Zach Edey just because, I mean, if he does what he is, like if he scores 40, like they are probably going to win the game.
Yeah.
And he has an opportunity to do that. Every time he gets the ball, he causes trouble. And it's because all the attention is surrounding him. And so I'm really interested to see what NC State actually does defensively, opposite of what other teams have done throughout this tournament.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm going to go Braden Smith. I just think the kid can do a lot of things well, and getting him uncomfortable is going to be tough to ask for the Wolfpack just because I think Purdue, obviously they're going to go to Edey, and all the attention is going to be on him. That they're really just going to have to force somebody else to beat him, and I think Braden Smith is so capable of that.
I think it'll be Zach Edey, and I know that's obvious, but I don't think he's going to have to be great in this game. I think he can finish this game with 21 and 10, and they can walk out of here with a W. I know NC State is a hot team, but I don't think he has to just be off the radar. I don't think he has to look like a Wooden Award finalist for them to get a W here tonight. So, yeah, I think you feel pretty good about your chances. If Zach Edey finishes this game with 23-12, 25-12, whatever it is, like he doesn't need 40 to win because I don't think NC State has the offense that Tennessee had to where they needed all 40 of those points.
Yeah. Now for NC State.
I'm going to go DJ Burns, and that's just because, I mean, if he is able to do what he did against Flipowski to Zach Edey, get, fade away, left-handed hook, floater, on the round drop step.
Middies, that's really where it's
mid-shot, getting down, and especially getting him in foul trouble. If he is able to get Zach Edey in some sort of foul trouble, so huge for the Wolfpack.
I agree. I'm actually going to take a different turn here again. I'm going to go Mohamed Diarra. He's got to be able to score offensively for this team, especially on when the offense just really runs through two guys. And just contain Edey too, because I think they're going to switch back and forth if Burns can't get to him.
Yeah.
And that's the story of this game, because if you contain Edey, you win this game. But who wins?
Oh, I got Purdue.
Yeah.
I think the Cinderella dance ends here.
Short.
It's been a great run, but I just think Purdue is just
hero falls to
falls to
another
Purdue.
villain.
Another villain. And it sucks that it has to be Purdue because nobody likes Purdue.
Nobody likes Purdue.
Real quick, if you don't mind, I want to tell a little bit of history. Real quick.
Go ahead.
So, the last time a 16 seed lost to a 1 seed, the next year they won a natty.
Virginia.
The last team that won 5 games in 5 days, when they did it again, or when they won 5 games in 5 days, they won a national championship.
Weird.
One of these teams is going to do it, and I'm riding with the Wolfpack. I really think that this is the team that can beat Purdue and mess up Zach Edey. I'm loving DJ Burns. I know he's 6'9". I know he's not 7'4", but I really do think that he is going to disturb him and make him uncomfortable. And then look out for those role players like O'Connell and Horn to go in and make shots. So we'll see.
Not so fast, my friend. That's what the great Lee Corso would say. I think Purdue blows NC State.
Oh, really?
This one.
Oh, wow.
Just something I feel like it's going to happen. But finally, who is your national champion as we approach that? That's going to happen on Monday.
I got UConn, bro.
Yeah.
UConn just looks like I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
Until you're convinced otherwise. That's what I have in my notes.
You're that much better than everybody you're playing against, bro. I mean, I cannot fathom a 30-0 run. I didn't watch the game because I was like at a wedding or something.
Against one of the hotter teams in the center, by the way.
Exactly.
I thought Illinois was like sneaky.
But I had to go look at the highlights because I had to see for myself, like, how did this happen? How do you give up a 30-0 run? So that type of dominance, man, I got to roll with UConn. I just think UConn is the best team in the country by far. I mean, you got people saying that they could beat an NBA team, which is ridiculous. But that just speaks to how good UConn is.
They're not beating the Pistons.
I agree. I think if UConn gets through Bama, I think I don't care if they're playing NC State or Purdue. I think they're winning the national championship. I do think, though, that if it is Bama who somehow beats UConn, and I have NC State beating Purdue, I think NC State wins it all if they match up with Bama.
Okay.
But I do think that UConn, if they get through Bama, they win it all.
Yeah, I'm going to go UConn, too. Just like Jaden said, like until I'm convinced otherwise, this team is the best in the nation. And it's not like they've showed weakness this
They
time.
haven't.
That's like the scariest thing for other teams that are like trying to watch film and stuff. Like, this is a completely different team that it was in January and February, you know? So just with that, I have to go with the Huskies, man.
Yeah.
I think the first repeat since 07 Florida with Joakim Noah and Bradley Beal.
Al Horford. Bradley
What
Beal.
a team. I think Brad Beal played for that team.
No, that was Corey Brewer played for them.
Corey Brewer played for that team? I think Bradley Beal was...
Corey Brewer was so tough for them.
Yeah.
I don't think Bradley
Let me
Bradley
fact
Beal
check this.
Bradley Beal went to
He
went to Florida.
He went to Florida.
He went to Florida.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
but I don't think he was on that.
I have to fact check this before we go on.
I think he got drafted in the 2010, so I know he wasn't on that.
You're right. It was Corey Brewer.
Okay.
And you're right. I think we were ahead of the time. But it was Billy Donovan as the coach still. So
Maurice Spates,
Wow.
Al Horford.
yeah, just what a throwback. But moving on, we're now going to switch over to the women's side of things. We're going to get through this pretty quickly because, I mean, South Carolina Dogs
Yeah, we don't
continue to stay undefeated. And they're going to go on to face NC State. Really weird. We have both men's and women's basketball for UConn and NC State in the Final Four. So that's really, really cool to see. Even if you hate both of those teams, I feel like that's such a cool accomplishment. They're going to go on, like I said, play NC State, who pulled off an upset against Texas this past weekend behind Isaiah James's 27-point performance with a messed up three-point line. Just weird game. Do you think NC State even has a shot? Like, literally, that's my question.
I said something to Michael off the air. I'm not going to say it on the air, but I mean, sure, anything can happen on any given Thursday.
Don't lie to the people.
Yeah, don't lie.
No,
No, they don't have a chance.
It's not
No,
Nope.
no,
it's not happening.
not
South Carolina
Not a
is-
snowball's chance.
South Carolina is on a mission. They are hungry, and I just don't think NC State is the team.
Jaden is trying to, give them, a fighting chance.
I want to, but
And I will
Yeah.
for you. I think if NC State can defensively lock down Cardoso, they have a shot at winning this game. Why? Is because their three-point defense is really good, and South Carolina loves to shoot the three ball. So I think if their defense can get it done, it gives them a shot. I'll say it gives them a shot. I won't say they'll pull it off, but it gives them a shot. But what does NC State have to be able to do against a stacked and deep South Carolina team to just even stay in the game?
I mean, hit your shots.
Yeah.
When you have an opportunity to hit a three, open three, you better hit it. It's one of these teams where if you get an opportunity to score or have a chance to get an advantage or an edge on this team, you better do it, or else you're screwed. and I don't think they're gonna be able to do it. I think they're toast.
Okay. Jaden?
I mean, he just said it.
Yeah.
I
have just scoring in transition for NC State. And then slowing the game down. South Carolina hates playing a slow-paced game.
yes.
Remember when they came to Baton Rouge and LSU slowed the game
Yeah.
down? They were up by 15 at one point. What does LSU do? Let's speed it up. Let's let them come back in the game. And they lost because of it. So,
Yeah. Let's start jacking threes now.
let's start jacking threes just like we did
Something we're
against
not
Iowa.
even good at,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Like I said, we're in our feelings a little bit today, but it's all good. As far as South Carolina on offense, who's a player you think has to have a big game for them?
You can take your pick. You can go with Cardoso. You can go with Bree Hall. You can go with Raven Johnson. You can go with Malijah Fulwiley. You can go with Tahina Powell. You can take either five of those five players and be like, yeah, this one.
It's a good prediction.
Yeah, she has to have a good game. So it doesn't matter because they're not.
Hey, you don't think it does?
South Carolina is one of those teams where there's not a standout score like, oh, this is our leading scorer. They're averaging 20. No, it's she's averaging 12, she's averaging 11, she's averaging 14. They're one of those teams where they break you down consistently over the course of the game. Everybody is going to pitch in.
Yeah.
So I don't think one particular person is going to have
Yeah,
to
they're
have
just
a
so
big
balanced.
game. It's just,
That is a good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so
good
deep.
point. But I mean, if you had to pick one, you're picking who?
I'm gonna just say Malijah Fulwiley. I just think
Okay. Yeah, she's been really good.
she's so fun to watch. I think she's gonna be one of the best
She's a
players
six
in
man,
college
right?
ball. Yeah, she's a 6-man. But yeah, I'm gonna just say Malijah Fulwiley just for the
Okay.
hell of it.
I mean, yeah, like you said, you can pick any of them. If I have to pick one, I'll go Cardosa. She'll have to do her thing.
6'7", bro.
I mean, she's gonna have to do her thing, but they're gonna be fine. If she isn't doing her thing, that just gives NC State another opportunity
Right.
to do
Yeah.
something.
More hope.
But
I agree.
I mean, like you said, if one of them isn't playing well, they got 4 or 5,
Yeah.
6 other people that could go and do something. So
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Tahina Pau. I think she has to be big in this game just because, like I said, the 3-point defense that the Wolfpack brings, the defense, I guess, I think it's pretty solid. And I think they're going to make it more difficult than usual. And so I think for anyone, I think Pau is one of the best 3-point shooters in the nation.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And so I think, like...
Bro, I think she's shooting like 48% from 3.
I think it's weird because I feel like she shoots better with contests than she does.
It happens,
open.
bro.
It's weird. But who wins this game?
Give me South Carolina by 40.
Yeah, give me the Gamecocks.
I think it's South Carolina, but I do think it's pretty close. Surprisingly, I do think this one's close. But now we're going to move it towards the other matchup as Iowa, who beat LSU behind just what a remarkable performance by Caitlin Clark. 41 points, 12 assists, 7 boards. I mean, yeah.
You can thank Kim Mulkey for that, by the way.
Yeah. But Caitlin Clark is so damn good.
Yeah.
Man. You have to.
She's so good.
Give credit where credit's due. I mean, that was like before we don't even have to talk about LSU but I knew the game was over when you let Caitlin Clark open the game up with 3 straight threes on 3 straight possessions. Because you let her get hot.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you can't do. Like maybe a miss in between, like, okay, we can breathe, but
right.
You let her get hot, man. You can't do that.
Out the gate.
I feel like Caitlin Clark's another player, too, who's like, you might as well just double team somebody else because she's just going to get her points. But if she was to do that, she might shoot 100.
You heard her in the press conference. She said it's so important for a shooter like herself to get confident early and get comfortable early. And she said as soon as she made a couple, she had all the confidence in the world. So if you allow her to make a couple and get in her groove.
Yeah. So after, seeing what Caitlin Clark did to LSU, getting her revenge, do you see anyone even stopping her, like remotely, or even remotely coming close to it?
I mean, nobody can stop her in particular. I mean, Iowa, yeah, sure, but her, no. Like, Caitlin Clark is going to get hers. I don't care who she's going against.
Yeah. So you just, no shot?
What do you consider stopping her? Beating her?
Slowing her down, I guess.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think so. You can give her different
Giving yourself a
coverages.
fighting chance.
Give her different looks.
I mean, you can
Mix it up.
They've done it. They've done it
yeah,
before.
like you can slow her down. She's still gonna drop 24.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I just think the difference is you can have her drop 41 like she did yesterday, or you can have her drop 24, 26,
but also,
shooting 8 for 23.
Here's the thing. She could score 24 and the other team wins the game. Like, you just have to cause her to be inefficient. She's been super inefficient at times. But for me, like, dude, I don't think anyone's going to even be able to come close to containing her. This is the Final Four we're talking about. This is the Caitlin Clark Revenge Tour. She don't care who the hell's in front of her. I don't care if it's Paige Beckers. I don't care if it's anyone from South Carolina. I feel like she's going to get hers.
You think they win it all? Is that what you said?
That's not what I said yet.
Oh, my bad.
But, yeah.
I didn't know where you
I don't
were
think
going
anyone's
with it.
stopping her. Like,
Yeah.
As far as the other team, go ahead and try. But with Paige Beckers, pretty good on the defensive end. She had 3 steals last night, 2 blocks. Hold on. And who was the primary person she had to guard? It was Juju Watkins. So that's pretty impressive. So do you see her being able to get Caitlin Clark maybe rattled?
I mean, yeah. How many points did Juju Watkins have last night?
29.
Yeah.
29. Here's
But
the
she
thing,
shot like
man.
9 for like 26.
Here's the thing.
Though.
Juju Watkins was not a good matchup for Paige Beckers, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. She had a lot more height. Here's the thing, man. I mean, Caitlin Clark could have had freaking 60 if she wanted to. She had Haley Van Lift on her all damn game. I mean, we're talking the height difference.
Oh, no, not until the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. Then Kim decided to put Flau'jae.
She was like, let's put Flau'jae.
Yeah. Now let's try something out. Yeah.
Yeah, but with like I said, do you think Paige kind of matches up well? Or better, you know?
I absolutely.
Yeah.
And it really kind of makes me mad with Paige tearing her ACL twice because
she's a little...
Paige was supposed to be everything Caitlin Clark is
Yes,
right now.
I was about to say that.
So many people completely
But
forget
scoring
that.
at all levels, not even...
Not
just a 3-point. Yeah.
Honestly,
Hold on.
I know it's going to sound crazy to casual people.
Hot take.
But I think that Paige is a more complete scorer, than Caitlin Clark. I don't think that's a crazy take.
I don't think it's a crazy take either. I knew you were going to say it,
I think it's a more complete player. Because Caitlin Clark
I wasn't feeling that bold, but Caitlin Clark is a brilliant passer. I will give her
brilliant.
She's an amazing passer.
She's just a floor general.
Yeah, exactly.
She's a complete floor general.
She's good at defense.
Yeah.
Dude, Caitlin
So
Clark,
I just think, I don't know.
You saw Caitlin Clark on defense yesterday?
I mean, no.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Paige definitely, she matches up better than Haley Van Lith. And I feel bad for Haley, bro.
5'7",
I just think
you
it
got
just
5'7" going up against 5'11", 6'.
Yeah. But
Not smart.
I'm so excited to see this matchup.
Yeah, me too, man. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
I'm very excited too. But as far as UConn's offense, do you think they can keep up with such a dominant Iowa offense? Like we said, Caitlin's, even if she does go cold, she's gonna create offense.
Oh, I definitely think so.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget, they do have Jean Auriemma, winner of 11 national titles.
Yeah, we have
and if there's one coach that has seen dynamic players up and down, I mean, who's played against Candace Parker, Coach Diana Taurasi, like, he's played against and coached so many great players.
He's up there,
comparable
man.
to Caitlin Clark. If there's one coach I'd feel good with going into battle against a player like that, is Jean Auriemma. And I think if anybody has a way just to at least slow her down, because that's about all you can hope for against Caitlin, I think it would be Jean.
Yeah, man, that's why I'm loving this women's tournament right now, man. It's because anything can happen.
Yeah.
And I really genuinely think that anything can happen in this UConn-Iowa game, especially with the way UConn has been playing and the talent that Paige Beckers has. Obviously, Iowa's talented, and obviously Caitlin Clark is probably the best player in women's college basketball as of right now.
Oh, yeah.
100%. But, I mean,
just the amount of stars.
Yeah,
right. like the amount of stars in this tournament. You look at Angel Reese.
I genuinely think like this game could be a buzzer beater type game. Like,
I can see it.
I mean, I could see it being down to to the wire.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you guys said, it's gonna be interesting to see Paige and Caitlin match up for me.
I don't think they ever. No, they played each other 2 years ago. I'll take that back.
Yeah, they did.
Who won?
Paige.
UConn.
I saw a funny tweet yesterday, like after UConn won. I forgot which page posted it, but it was like, "Oh, UConn returns to the Final Four for the first time since 2022." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
I think it's gonna be the first test as far as defensively for Clark in this tournament, actually having to contain an elite scorer.
Yeah.
So she's not going to be able to take breaks like she does, kind of like Luka does in the league, just takes breaks on defense. But I think it's going to be a really fun matchup because, I mean, if Clark is forced to play defense for like one of the first times in the tournament, she might get in foul trouble. So
honestly, I'm not so sure they'll even have her matched up with Paige.
You don't think so?
I think they know better than to do that. Mm-hmm. And I just think you don't need your best player.
Gabby Marshall legacy game?
Maybe. But you don't need your best player trying to guard Paige Beckers, knowing she's not a defender as it is. And you want her to go on the other end and beat Caitlin.
Yeah, it's just a different set of players. Yeah, that's all it is.
But who wins? This is the big game, man.
I got UConn. And I'm not saying that from like a hater standpoint, but I just think UConn is a more complete team. And I'm really rooting for Paige here, man. I just think, like I said, it sucks the way
that she went out
just stole all of that stardom, bro. All of it. And people have really
maybe
completely
she'll use that as a
Paige.
chip on her shoulder.
Maybe, but apparently Caitlin Clark, she said like,
Iowa didn't,
UConn didn't want her or whatever. So
whatever.
Cool
You're
story,
from Iowa.
You went to Iowa. Like you weren't going there
anyway.
You're
from Iowa and you went to Iowa. So.
But it should be a great game, man. I'm excited to see how it folds out.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be a back and forth game. I can see it going to overtime. And I genuinely think this is going to be one of those games that Caitlin Clark gives us 35-40 and Paige Beckers gives us 30. And we're going to see elite scoring at the women's basketball level. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be a one possession game. I'm going with the Hawkeyes. I think give me a little prediction. Give me a Caitlin Clark game winner. Why not?
I'll have to turn my Instagram off.
I will log out of every social media account I have.
But like, obviously, it's like the Tom Brady thing. It's like I always didn't like Tom Brady just because of how much they won, and that's kind of like the Caitlin Clark thing, and it's like kind of with beating your team. Obviously, we're LSU students, so we're gonna pull for LSU. So it's kind of like, dang, it's like a shot through the heart. But I'm going with Iowa in this one, and I think it's close until the end. But the lack of depth from UConn is really what is going to kill them in this game because even last night they struggled in the first half just to even compete because they had foul trouble. So I'm going with the Hawkeyes. And so who wins the national championship? And
I'm gonna go with South Carolina. I think if it's not South Carolina, it'll be Iowa, just because I just think Caitlin is gonna finish where she started, and
then we'll never hear from Iowa basketball ever again.
Right off into the sunset, and it'll be a great storybook ending. But I just think, logically, I'm gonna go South Carolina. They just look like the best team from top to bottom. They're also on a mission because they fell short last year. So
to Iowa.
To Iowa, yeah.
You don't win. You don't go 36, 35-0 for no reason.
Right. Well, they did last year, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But I think this is like, there's not really another team that can. I mean, maybe Iowa that can really mess them up like they did last year.
Yeah. I could legitimately see Iowa winning it all. But
I mean, yeah, I can too, obviously. But I'm gonna roll with the Gamecocks.
You're going with the Gamecocks. I'm also going with South Carolina still, and I really think it's like back and forth for me because I feel like you said, the storybook ending. It just feels like.
Well, we just.
But also, you look at the storybook ending for South Carolina, who's getting revenge.
But I will say, South Carolina has like an entire different starting five.
That's what I'm saying. And they have depth.
That's what makes their record that much more impressive.
Like
they have
Iowa,
a whole new squad.
I watched Iowa starters yesterday. They really didn't impress me other than knocking down some like wide open threes. But you're supposed to be able to do that.
Kid you not, I think there was like a 4 to 5 minute period where I didn't see anybody else from Iowa score but Caitlin.
Clark. That's what I'm saying. That's how good she is. But it should be very interesting if they do match up in the national championship game. So I'd like really
any of these matchups, man.
I think it, except really NC State, because like.
Nobody wants to see
boring
them
team.
in there. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately for them, just because like you have all these stars and then you got NC State.
Yeah.
So, but guys, it's time. It's time for the Poo Poo Broussard of the week, and we've got some. Boy, do we have some candidates for you this week. This goes out to the worst performance, whether that's a player, a team, a coach, a GM, fan base, you name it. Jaden, you want me to start with you?
We can, man.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Kim Mulkey. I got to do this, but you are my Poo Poo Broussard of the week. And I just think...
The game plan.
What game plan? We didn't have a game plan. The game plan was, let's just hope Caitlin Clark doesn't make a shot. That was the game plan. And I just think it sucks that we went out there, like I said, with no game plan. We didn't know what to do. We didn't make any adjustments throughout the course of the game. Oh, my bad. I forgot the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter where she put Flaugier on Caitlin. My bad. But outside of that, we didn't make any adjustments to the point where it would have actually mattered in the outcome. And as a result of that, now we have Haley Van Lith being scapegoated all over Twitter. Like, she was supposed to do something about that. Caitlin Clark probably would have done that to anybody.
Like, bro, and it's just sad because, like, why would you put a 5'7" guard on somebody who can't even, like, their hand doesn't even reach for freaking shot.
Yeah. Like, there's no way Caitlin saw any of her contests.
Everybody's going to see the picture of Haley, like,
what do I do?
Like, everybody's going to see it. But that's a good poo-poo. So say it again, man.
Kim Mulkey, you are my Poo Poo Broussard of the week.
Well, me and Michael have pretty similar ones. So
Actually, I changed mine up. I changed mine up. You can go first.
So I'm going with the easy one here. I'm going Ben Bulch, Los Angeles Times. I think we all know why.
Yeah.
Called the LSU team a quote-unquote bunch of dirty debutantes, which I'm not even going to say what that is here. It's not even appropriate for this podcast. I'll let the viewers go out and look it up for themselves, and then compare UCLA's. He compared UCLA's team to milk and cookies, man.
And said we were Louisiana hot sauce.
I like Louisiana.
I love Louisiana hot sauce.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's disgusting how journalists like this are kind of able to publish work like this, attacking young players literally 18 to 22-year-olds who are literally just trying to play the game that they love and win a national championship. I think it's ridiculous. And I don't even know how the editors got away with letting this be published. Right. Caught them sleeping.
And then to make it worse, you come back after the backlash and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that."
And then you put a whole apology statement.
Yeah, like no, you're not. No,
you're not. So for that, the entire Los Angeles Times.
Yes.
You are my poo-poo Broussard of the week. That was too easy.
Yeah, I had that one. Like, I was gonna do it. I wanted to switch it up because I figured you were gonna do the same thing.
We thought it was gonna. I actually did kind of think it was gonna be a triple.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be 3 people doing that. So I'm changing mine up. I'm even switching sports. I'm wearing this White Sox jersey, right? I'm sadly a White Sox fan. Chicago White Sox, you are the poo-poo Broussard.
The whole team?
Oh, the whole organization, the GM, the everything. It's just, I mean,
Braves, man.
First of all, terrible. I mean, you're 0-4. We play tonight, 6-10, and we'll probably lose. But anyways, yesterday, we played the Atlanta Braves. And in about the 7th, 8th inning, it was time for us to go up to bat. Well, they had to stop the game for 10 to 15 minutes because we didn't have our first base coach. He vanished. He just disappeared. And
you got nervous.
They didn't have the first base coach. Then they couldn't find the helmet with the technology for you to go out there and be the first base coach. So it took 10 to 15 minutes while the other pitcher is just sitting out there in the rain, warming up for an extra 10 to 15 minutes.
Here's the thing, man. Do you really think they needed a first base coach? You know why? Because they weren't getting on base either way. They're the White Sox for crying out loud.
Man, it's just so annoying to 3 or 4 years ago being looked at in the preseason. Like 3 or 4 years ago, in the preseason rankings, we were like looked at to be one of the most dangerous teams in the American League. You want to know what happened that season? We finished second to last in the division. Like, what do you even do? Maybe we should move to Nashville. Like, I don't know what's going on, man. But Chicago White Sox, you are my poo-poo Broussard of the week.
Too easy, boys. Too
bad.
But yeah, I mean that's some good ones. We also could have put Rashee Rice in there. Maybe. It's not even confirmed yet, so that's why I kind of steered away from it.
Get it?
Where's the? No, I can't even find it, guys.
What, like the sitcom laugh?
Yeah, I can't even find it. Well, we just won't even do it. But that will do it here for us today. Thanks to Michael and Jaden for joining me here on this Not Calm Little Tuesday. Man, it pains me to say that.
Our season is really over, bro.
But I'm Andre Champagne, and this has been the Hodges Huddle.